The Paluxy River Investigation. Dr. Roland Byrd's 1938 expedition to examine dinosaur tracks along the Paluxy River in Texas yielded a discovery that paleontologists still refuse to acknowledge. Human footprints preserved in the same Cretaceous limestone layers as Acrocanthosaurus tracks, suggesting humans and dinosaurs coexisted 100 million years before accepted evolutionary timelines. Byrd, working for the American Museum of Natural History, was following reports of giant man tracks discovered by local residents during the 1930s drought that exposed extensive bedrock along the riverbank. His mission was debunking what museum officials assumed were either hoaxes or misidentified dinosaur prints. What Byrd found defied every principle of paleontology. The human prints showed anatomically correct foot structure, natural stride patterns, and were embedded in the same geological strata as authentic dinosaur tracks. The preservation was identical, the rock composition was uniform, and the aging showed no signs of artificial creation. The prints demonstrated weight-bearing compression consistent with human locomotion, toe impressions matching human anatomy, and sequential stride patterns that followed natural walking mechanics. Most significantly, several human tracks showed evidence of interaction with dinosaur prints, including cases where human steps appeared to deliberately avoid larger reptilian tracks. Detailed measurements revealed that the human footprints ranged from 12 to 21 inches in length, suggesting individuals of extraordinary height walking alongside massive theropod dinosaurs. The stride length calculations indicated normal human walking patterns scaled up proportionally to the foot size. Byrd documented over 100 distinct human footprints in the limestone, many showing perfect anatomical details, including arch definition, heel strikes, and toe separation that could only result from genuine human feet. Several prints showed evidence of running gaits and directional changes that indicated conscious movement patterns. When Byrd attempted to remove sections containing both human and dinosaur prints for museum display, pressure from evolutionary scientists forced the American Museum to reject the evidence despite Byrd's reputation and documentation. The museum's official position became that human prints were impossible regardless of evidence. Independent paleontologists who examined the site confirmed Byrd's findings, but faced professional ostracism when they supported the authenticity of human tracks in Cretaceous deposits. Dr. Cecil Dougherty of UC Berkeley lost his tenure after publishing support for the Paluxy discoveries. The systematic suppression intensified when geologists verified that the limestone formations showed no evidence of recent disturbance, secondary deposition, or artificial alteration. The human and dinosaur tracks had been preserved simultaneously in the same geological event during the Cretaceous period. Local protection of the site became impossible when repeated vandalism destroyed many of the clearest human prints. However, plaster casts made by Byrd and other researchers preserved evidence of the impossible coexistence, though these casts mysteriously disappeared from museum collections. Modern attempts to investigate the Paluxy River tracks are discouraged through academic pressure and funding restrictions. The site remains accessible to tourists, but scientific research focusing on human tracks is systematically avoided by mainstream paleontology institutions. The Mediterranean Mapping Project. Between 1955 and 1968, Columbia University's marine geology program conducted extensive sonar mapping of the Mediterranean seafloor that revealed submerged architectural structures covering thousands of square miles at depths that proved they were built when sea levels were 400 feet lower during the last ice age. The discovery suggested advanced civilizations existed 12,000 years before the supposed dawn of agriculture and urban development. Dr. Bruce Heezen led the expedition using cutting-edge sonar technology to map underwater topography for geological research. The team expected to find natural formations and evidence of ancient coastlines, not the extensive artificial structures that appeared on their sonar readings across multiple Mediterranean basins. The underwater features showed unmistakable signs of deliberate construction, straight lines extending for miles, perfect right angles, geometric patterns, and organized layouts that natural geological processes couldn't produce. The structures extended across vast areas and showed evidence of sophisticated urban planning with central plazas, radiating streets, and defensive perimeters. Detailed analysis revealed that the submerged features included what appeared to be harbors with artificial breakwaters, building foundations arranged in city blocks, road networks connecting different urban centers, and defensive walls that followed strategic topographical advantages. The scale and organization suggested civilizations that had achieved urban development rivaling ancient Rome. High-resolution sonar mapping identified individual buildings within the submerged cities, including structures that appeared to be temples, palaces, and residential complexes. The architectural layout demonstrated advanced understanding of urban planning, drainage systems, and defensive architecture that exceeded capabilities attributed to Ice Age populations. Statistical analysis of the structural patterns revealed mathematical relationships and geometric principles in the city layouts that indicated sophisticated planning and engineering knowledge. The urban designs incorporated astronomical alignments and mathematical ratios found in much later civilizations. When Heesen's team attempted to publish their findings, pressure from archaeological institutions forced Columbia to suppress the research. Archaeologists insisted that complex civilizations couldn't have existed before 5000 BCE, regardless of physical evidence found on the Mediterranean seafloor. The National Science Foundation, which had funded the original geological survey, terminated support for further investigation and classified the sonar data containing evidence of underwater structures. Access to the research materials was restricted to authorized personnel only, preventing independent verification. Independent marine archaeologists who attempted to investigate the Mediterranean structures found their research proposals rejected and their access to necessary equipment blocked. Universities refused to support expeditions that might confirm pre-agricultural civilizations that challenged established archaeological timelines. Subsequent oceanographic surveys in the Mediterranean have been carefully routed to avoid the areas where Heesen's team discovered underwater structures. Official charts show the regions as natural geological formations, despite clear sonar evidence of artificial construction and urban organization. The Mediterranean Mapping Project proved that advanced urban civilizations existed during the last ice age when official history claims humans were primitive hunter-gatherers. But this evidence has been systematically suppressed to maintain established archaeological timelines and theories about human development. The Antarctic core crisis. The 1980 International Antarctic Research Expedition's deep ice core drilling program uncovered tropical plant fossils and temperate climate indicators in ice layers dating to periods when Antarctica was supposedly frozen for millions of years. The discovery suggested that Earth's climate history was radically different from accepted models and that habitable conditions existed in polar regions during times when mainstream science claims global ice ages were occurring. Dr. Elena Petrov led the Soviet component of the multinational drilling program, focusing on climate reconstruction through ice core analysis. Her team was extracting cores from depths representing hundreds of thousands of years of Antarctic ice accumulation using state-of-the-art drilling equipment provided by international climate research organizations. At depths corresponding to approximately 400,000 years ago, Petrov's team discovered perfectly preserved tropical plant material embedded in ice that should have formed during a major glacial period when global temperatures were supposedly much colder than today. The organic material included palm fronds, fern specimens, and flowering plants that required warm, humid conditions to grow. The plant fossils were so well preserved that cellular structures remained intact, allowing detailed botanical analysis that confirmed the specimens were genuine tropical flora rather than contaminated material from other regions. Carbon dating verified the fossil's age matched the ice layer chronology established through multiple independent dating methods. Pollen analysis of the ice cores revealed that the tropical plants were part of complete ecosystems that had flourished in Antarctica, including evidence of tropical insects, soil microorganisms, and marine life that required warm ocean temperatures. The biological evidence indicated that Antarctica had sustained temperate climates for extended periods. Climatologists examining the findings realized that tropical plants growing in Antarctica 400,000 years ago meant global climate patterns were fundamentally different from current models. The discovery suggested that ice ages, continental positions, or atmospheric conditions operated according to unknown principles that could dramatically alter polar climates. Geological analysis of sediment layers within the ice cores revealed evidence of volcanic activity, sea level changes, and continental drift that differed significantly from accepted models of Earth's geological history. The data suggested that major planetary changes had occurred more recently and dramatically than previously understood. When Petrov prepared to publish her findings, pressure from international climate organizations forced the Soviet Academy of Sciences to classify the research. The plant fossils were transferred to restricted facilities and removed from scientific access, preventing independent verification of the impossible climatic evidence. NASA climate researchers who had collaborated on the Ice Core project were ordered to omit tropical fossil data from their reports and focus exclusively on evidence supporting established climate models. References to Antarctic plant fossils were deleted from published research and conference presentations. The drilling site was declared off-limits to further research due to environmental protection concerns, preventing independent verification of tropical fossil discoveries. International treaties prohibited unauthorized investigation of the restricted area, effectively sealing the evidence. Modern Antarctic research programs carefully avoid the regions where tropical fossils were discovered, and climate reconstruction studies systematically exclude data that contradicts established models of ice age chronology and polar climate history, maintaining artificial consistency in climate science. The Pacific Migration Paradox. Thor Heyerdahl's 1969 and 1970 Ra expeditions demonstrated that ancient civilizations possessed transoceanic navigation capabilities thousands of years before accepted historical timelines. But his most significant discovery was systematically suppressed. Evidence that prehistoric peoples had established global trade networks and cultural exchange systems that operated on a scale exceeding modern international commerce. Heyerdahl's second Ra expedition successfully crossed the Atlantic using ancient Egyptian boat-building techniques. But during the journey, his team discovered evidence that challenged fundamental assumptions about ancient isolation and primitive technology. Ocean currents, wind patterns, and navigational landmarks showed that transoceanic travel was not only possible, but routine for ancient mariners. Analysis of barnacle specimens collected during the voyage revealed species combinations that could only result from systematic transoceanic transport of marine life. The biological evidence suggested ancient ships had been crossing major oceans regularly enough to establish permanent biological exchange between continents separated by thousands of miles. Marine biology studies of the collected specimens showed genetic markers indicating that species native to different continents had been hybridizing for thousands of years, proving that ancient maritime travel had created biological connections between distant regions long before accepted historical contact. Most significantly, Heyerdahl's team documented finding artificial markers and navigational aids on remote islands that showed evidence of ancient construction and maintenance. These installations demonstrated sophisticated understanding of ocean navigation and global positioning that exceeded accepted ancient capabilities by thousands of years. The navigational markers included stone monuments aligned with stellar positions, artificial harbors carved into natural rock formations, and signal platforms positioned for optimal visibility across ocean distances. The installations formed networks that could guide ships across vast oceanic expanses using mathematical principles. Radiocarbon dating of the navigational markers revealed they were thousands of years old, yet their mathematical precision and astronomical alignment required knowledge of advanced navigation principles that official history claimed weren't developed until the modern era with sophisticated instruments and mathematical knowledge. Archaeological investigation of the islands revealed evidence of ancient settlements that had served as waypoints for transoceanic travel, including warehouses for trade goods, ship repair facilities, and astronomical observation platforms. The infrastructure suggested organized maritime commerce spanning multiple continents. When Heyerdahl attempted to publish evidence of ancient global navigation systems, Academic institutions dismissed his findings as overinterpretation of natural formations. Universities refused to support research that might prove prehistoric. Civilizations had achieved global connectivity that challenged isolated development theories. Maritime archaeology organizations prohibited investigation of the ancient navigational sites, claiming they were culturally sensitive locations that required protection from unauthorized research. Access to the sites was restricted through international maritime protection treaties that prevented scientific verification. Oceanographic surveys systematically avoided the areas where Heyerdahl had discovered evidence of ancient navigation systems. Official charts classified the installations as natural rock formations, despite clear evidence of artificial construction, astronomical alignment, and navigational purpose. The Ra expeditions proved that ancient civilizations had established global maritime networks thousands of years before official history acknowledges transoceanic contact. But this evidence has been suppressed to maintain narratives about ancient isolation and primitive technological capabilities. The Sahara archaeology shock. Between 1975 and 1982, a joint French-Algerian expedition led by Henri Lehote discovered extensive urban ruins beneath Saharan sand dunes that radiocarbon testing dated to 8000 BCE, proving that advanced civilizations with sophisticated architecture, agriculture, and astronomy existed in North Africa when the region was still green, thousands of years before Egyptian civilization supposedly began. Lehote's team was investigating Neolithic rock art when ground-penetrating radar detected massive artificial structures buried under centuries of sand accumulation. The initial excavations revealed stone buildings with architectural sophistication that challenged every assumption about prehistoric African development and technological capabilities. The buried cities showed evidence of advanced urban planning, including paved streets with drainage systems, multi-story buildings constructed with precision stonework, sewage systems that channeled waste away from populated areas, and public spaces designed for large populations with sophisticated social organization. Architectural analysis revealed that the buildings incorporated earthquake-resistant construction techniques, climate-controlled interior environments using passive cooling systems, and modular design principles that allowed for systematic urban expansion. The engineering required advanced mathematical knowledge and construction experience. Astronomical analysis of building alignments revealed that the cities were oriented according to precise celestial calculations that required sophisticated mathematical knowledge and long-term astronomical observation. The urban layouts incorporated cosmic alignments that demonstrated advanced scientific understanding of celestial mechanics. Agricultural evidence showed that the Saharan civilizations had developed irrigation systems that could support large populations in challenging desert conditions. The technology included underground water management systems, soil enhancement techniques, and crop rotation methods that exceeded contemporary agricultural capabilities. Water management systems included sophisticated aqueducts, underground cisterns, and irrigation networks that channeled seasonal rainfall for year-round agricultural production. The hydraulic engineering demonstrated advanced understanding of hydrology and sustainable agricultural practices in arid environments. Metallurgical analysis of artifacts found in the cities revealed advanced metalworking techniques, including precision casting, alloy production, and decorative metalwork that required high-temperature furnaces and sophisticated chemical knowledge of metal properties and processing methods. When Lehote's team attempted to publish their findings about advanced Saharan civilizations, pressure from Egyptian archaeological authorities forced suppression of research that might challenge the primacy of Egyptian civilization in African development and suggest that sophisticated cultures existed throughout Africa. The French colonial government classified the Saharan discoveries and restricted access to prevent international investigation that might prove advanced African civilizations predated European contact by thousands of years and challenged colonial narratives about primitive African development. Independent archaeologists who attempted to investigate the Saharan sites found their research proposals rejected and their access to necessary permits blocked. universities refused to support expeditions that might confirm sophisticated prehistoric African development that contradicted established theories. The discovery sites were subsequently declared protected areas, and access was restricted through environmental and cultural preservation laws that prevented unauthorized archaeological investigation while maintaining official silence about the discoveries. Modern satellite imagery shows geometric patterns beneath Saharan sands that correspond to Lahote's described urban sites, but ground investigation is prohibited through international treaties protecting sensitive archaeological resources from scientific verification. The Bering Land Bridge Revision. The 1973 International Arctic Research Expedition discovered human artifacts in permafrost layers that predated the supposed Bering Land Bridge migration by 30,000 years, proving that humans had reached the Americas far earlier than accepted timelines, and possibly through different migration routes that challenge fundamental assumptions about prehistoric human movement and capabilities. Dr. James Mitchell led the multinational team investigating climate change evidence in Arctic permafrost when they uncovered sophisticated tools, weapons, and artistic objects embedded in geological layers that were much older than the accepted timeline for human arrival in North America. The artifacts showed advanced manufacturing techniques, including precision, flint knapping that produced standardized tool types, composite tool construction using multiple materials and adhesives, and decorative artwork that demonstrated cultural sophistication and artistic traditions spanning thousands of years. The preservation in permafrost allowed detailed analysis of organic materials, including wood, bone, leather, and textile fragments that revealed sophisticated processing techniques and manufacturing capabilities. The organic artifacts showed evidence of complex tool-making traditions and advanced material processing. Radiocarbon dating confirmed that the human artifacts were 45,000 years old, placing human habitation in Arctic regions during periods when Ice Age conditions should have made survival impossible with primitive technology. The discovery suggested humans possessed advanced cold weather adaptation capabilities and survival techniques. Analysis of bone tools revealed hunting techniques that required sophisticated understanding of Arctic wildlife behavior, seasonal migration patterns, and group hunting strategies that could successfully target large Ice Age mammals, including mammoths, cave bears, and Arctic-adapted species. Most significantly, the artifacts included navigational instruments and boat-building materials that indicated Arctic peoples had developed sophisticated maritime technology capable of ocean travel during Ice Age conditions, when conventional wisdom claimed such navigation was impossible with primitive technology. Preserved boat components showed advanced shipbuilding techniques, including flexible hull construction, waterproofing methods, and sail systems that could function in Arctic maritime conditions. The nautical technology suggested capability for long-distance ocean travel during Ice Age periods. When Mitchell's team prepared to publish their findings about early human presence in the Arctic, pressure from anthropological institutions forced suppression of research that contradicted established migration theories and primitive technology assumptions fundamental to accepted human development models. The National Science Foundation terminated funding for further Arctic archaeological research and classified the artifact collections, removing them from scientific access and preventing independent verification of early human presence that challenged migration chronology. Universities refused to support research that might validate pre-Clovis human presence in the Americas, maintaining that human migration couldn't have occurred before the Bering Land Bridge provided access approximately 15,000 years ago, according to established archaeological theory. The discovery sites were declared environmentally protected areas, and access was restricted through international Arctic preservation treaties that prevented unauthorized archaeological investigation of early human habitation evidence. Modern Arctic research programs systematically avoid the regions where early human artifacts were discovered, and migration studies exclude data that contradicts established theories about primitive human capabilities and limited prehistoric movement patterns. The Underground London Survey. During 1987 construction of London's Jubilee Line extension, engineering surveys discovered extensive tunnel systems and underground structures that predated Roman London by thousands of years, proving that sophisticated urban development and advanced engineering existed in Britain long before accepted historical timelines acknowledged complex civilization in Northern Europe. Dr. Margaret Foster led the archaeological component of the construction project, expecting to find typical Roman-era foundations and medieval infrastructure. Instead, her team uncovered evidence of prehistoric urban development that challenged fundamental assumptions about ancient British capabilities and technological development. The underground structures included precisely engineered tunnels with perfectly circular cross-sections, sophisticated ventilation systems that maintained air circulation throughout extensive networks, and architectural foundations that demonstrated advanced understanding of geology, hydrology, and structural engineering principles. Engineering analysis revealed that the tunnel construction required mathematical knowledge of load distribution, water management, and structural integrity that exceeded Roman engineering capabilities. The prehistoric builders had achieved construction precision that matched modern tunneling standards. Most extraordinary was the discovery that the prehistoric tunnel systems connected to natural underground waterways and cave formations, suggesting ancient engineers had created an integrated urban infrastructure that utilized both artificial construction and natural geological features for comprehensive city planning. Water management systems included sophisticated drainage networks, underground reservoirs, and flood control mechanisms that could handle seasonal water flow variations. The hydraulic engineering demonstrated advanced understanding of urban water management and environmental adaptation. Analysis of construction materials revealed that the underground structures used stone cutting and metalworking techniques that produced precision exceeding Roman standards. The engineering incorporated principles of load distribution and structural stability that required advanced mathematical and scientific knowledge. Tool marks on stone surfaces showed evidence of cutting techniques that achieved precision levels requiring advanced tools and manufacturing capabilities. The stonework demonstrated sophisticated quarrying, transport, and construction methods that challenged assumptions about prehistoric British technological limitations. When Foster attempted to publish findings about prehistoric London infrastructure, pressure from British archaeological institutions forced suppression of research that might challenge Roman primacy in British urban development and suggest that advanced civilization existed in pre-Roman Britain. The construction project was modified to avoid disturbing the prehistoric structures, and access to the discovery areas was restricted through heritage protection laws that prevented independent archaeological investigation while maintaining official silence about the discoveries. London Transport Authority classified the underground discoveries and prohibited public discussion of prehistoric infrastructure that might complicate development projects and challenge established historical narratives about ancient British capabilities and Roman technological superiority. Modern London development projects carefully route around known prehistoric structures, and urban archaeological surveys systematically exclude data that contradicts established timelines of British civilization and Roman technological supremacy in urban development. The Underground London Survey proved that sophisticated urban engineering existed in prehistoric Britain thousands of years before Roman conquest. But this evidence has been suppressed to maintain established narratives about primitive pre-Roman British development. The Amazon Civilization Mapping. The 1999 Brazilian Rainforest Survey using advanced satellite imaging and ground-penetrating radar revealed extensive urban complexes throughout the Amazon basin that supported populations in the millions, proving that sophisticated civilizations with advanced agriculture, architecture, and environmental management had thrived in the rainforest for thousands of years before European contact. Dr. Anna Clark led the international team using cutting-edge remote sensing technology to map deforestation and environmental change. The research was intended to document modern ecological damage, not discover evidence of advanced prehistoric Amazon civilizations that challenged assumptions about rainforest habitation. The satellite data revealed geometric patterns covering thousands of square miles that could only result from deliberate human landscape modification. The patterns included urban centers connected by road networks, agricultural terraces carved into hillsides, sophisticated transportation systems, and water management infrastructure. Advanced image analysis identified individual structures within the urban complexes, including what appeared to be temples, administrative buildings, residential areas, and specialized facilities for manufacturing and trade. The architectural layouts demonstrated sophisticated urban planning and social organization. Ground investigation confirmed that the geometric patterns were artificial earthworks created through sophisticated engineering that transformed challenging rainforest environments into productive urban and agricultural landscapes. The construction scale exceeded anything achieved by known prehistoric American civilizations. Archaeological evidence revealed that the Amazon civilizations had developed construction techniques using locally available materials to create durable architecture that could withstand rainforest conditions. The building methods incorporated environmental adaptation and sustainable construction practices. Most significantly, the Amazon civilizations had developed sustainable environmental management that maintained ecological balance while supporting large populations. Their agricultural techniques enhanced rather than damaged rainforest ecosystems through soil improvement, biodiversity management, and integrated forest farming. Agricultural analysis showed that the Amazon peoples had developed sophisticated farming systems, including raised field agriculture, forest gardening, and aquaculture, that could support dense populations while maintaining environmental sustainability. The techniques exceeded modern sustainable agriculture capabilities. Population estimates based on urban area analysis and agricultural capacity suggested that the Amazon civilizations had supported populations numbering in the millions, making them among the largest prehistoric civilizations in the Americas with sophisticated social organization and resource management. When Clark's team prepared to publish their findings about Amazon urban civilizations, pressure from environmental organizations forced suppression of research that might complicate conservation efforts by proving that large human populations could coexist sustainably with rainforest ecosystems. The Brazilian government classified the satellite data showing Amazon urban complexes and restricted access to prevent investigation that might challenge environmental policies based on assumptions about prehistoric rainforest conditions and indigenous capabilities. International environmental agencies discourage research that might validate sustainable large-scale human habitation in the Amazon, preferring to maintain narratives about pristine wilderness that supported conservation strategies based on excluding human habitation. Archaeological investigation of the Amazon urban sites was prohibited through indigenous protection laws and environmental regulations that prevented scientific verification of sophisticated prehistoric civilizations while maintaining official narratives about primitive rainforest populations. Modern Amazon conservation programs systematically ignore evidence of prehistoric urban development and maintain policies based on assumptions about primitive indigenous populations and untouched wilderness that the satellite surveys proved were completely incorrect. The North Sea revelation. Offshore drilling operations in the North Sea during the 1980s repeatedly encountered artificial structures, worked stone, and human artifacts at depths corresponding to periods when the area was dry land during the last ice age, proving that advanced civilizations had existed in northern Europe thousands of years before accepted timelines, and that sea level changes had submerged extensive evidence of prehistoric development. Dr. Robert Hansen analyzed core samples from oil drilling platforms that consistently contained evidence of human habitation in areas that were underwater for thousands of years. The artifacts included worked stone, metal objects, and organic materials that indicated substantial human presence during Ice Age periods. The submerged evidence showed sophisticated construction techniques, including stone foundations with precisely fitted blocks, artificial harbors with breakwater construction, and defensive structures that demonstrated advanced engineering capabilities and organized social systems for large-scale construction projects. Engineering analysis of the submerged structures revealed construction methods that required advanced understanding of hydraulic engineering, stone cutting, and structural design. The building techniques exceeded capabilities attributed to Ice Age European populations by mainstream archaeology. The scale of construction suggested organized civilizations, with substantial populations and technological capabilities for major public works projects. The structures extended across vast areas, indicating coordinated urban development and sophisticated social organization during Ice Age periods. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials found in the North Sea cores revealed human activity dating to 12,000, 15,000 years ago, when the region was habitable land before post-glacial flooding submerged the area. The timeline placed advanced civilizations in northern Europe thousands of years before accepted agricultural development. Most significantly, the North Sea artifacts included evidence of metallurgy, precision tool-making, and artistic development that indicated cultural sophistication exceeding the capabilities attributed to Ice Age European populations by mainstream archaeological theory and primitive technology assumptions. Analysis of metal artifacts revealed advanced alloy production, precision casting techniques, and decorative metalwork that required sophisticated furnace technology and chemical knowledge of metal properties. The metallurgical capabilities exceeded accepted Ice Age technological development. When Hansen attempted to publish findings about North Sea prehistoric civilizations, pressure from archaeological institutions forced suppression of research that might challenge established timelines of European development and primitive Ice Age capabilities fundamental to accepted prehistoric theories. Oil companies were pressured to avoid reporting archaeological discoveries that might complicate drilling operations through heritage protection requirements and delay profitable extraction projects with expensive archaeological investigation and site protection protocols. European archaeological authorities classified North Sea artifact discoveries and prohibited investigation that might prove advanced prehistoric civilizations existed in areas that were subsequently flooded by post-glacial sea level changes, challenging established archaeological timelines. Maritime archaeology organizations systematically avoided the North Sea regions where prehistoric artifacts had been discovered, maintaining that underwater investigation was technically unfeasible despite evidence proving extensive human habitation during accessible periods. Modern North Sea development projects ignore prehistoric artifact discoveries and operate under archaeological policies that exclude evidence contradicting established timelines of European civilization and Ice Age technological limitations. The Australian dating crisis. Thermoluminescence dating of Australian archaeological sites by Dr. Rhys Jones's team between 1985-1990 consistently produced dates of 60,000 to 80,000 years for Aboriginal artifacts and settlements, proving that sophisticated human cultures had existed in Australia far longer than accepted migration theories allowed, and that Aboriginal technological and cultural development was much more advanced than mainstream anthropology acknowledged. Jones's team was using advanced dating techniques to establish chronologies for Aboriginal cultural development when they discovered that conventional radiocarbon dating had severely underestimated the age of Australian human habitation by tens of thousands of years. The thermoluminescence results showed that Aboriginal peoples had developed sophisticated tool technologies, artistic traditions, and environmental management systems tens of thousands of years before accepted timelines for advanced human cultural development and complex social organization. Archaeological evidence revealed that early Aboriginal cultures had achieved advanced stone tool production, complex artistic expression, and sophisticated understanding of environmental management that enabled successful adaptation to diverse Australian environments, from tropical rainforests to arid deserts. Most significantly, the dating revealed that Aboriginal civilizations had achieved complex social organization, long-distance trade networks, and technological innovations that exceeded the capabilities attributed to prehistoric populations by mainstream anthropology and primitive development theories. Cultural analysis of the extended timeline showed that Aboriginal peoples had developed sophisticated navigation techniques, astronomical knowledge, and environmental management practices that required advanced mathematical understanding and scientific observation capabilities spanning thousands of years. The extended timeline meant that Aboriginal peoples had developed advanced cultural systems independently and earlier than civilizations in other continents, challenging assumptions about technological diffusion and primitive Australian development that formed the basis of comparative anthropological theory. Linguistic analysis suggested that the time depth required for Aboriginal language development indicated much longer habitation periods than accepted migration theories allowed, supporting the extended chronology indicated by thermoluminescence dating of archaeological sites. When Jones attempted to publish the extended chronology for Aboriginal civilization, pressure from anthropological institutions forced suppression of research that might challenge established theories about human migration and primitive prehistoric Australian capabilities fundamental to accepted anthropological models. The Australian government restricted access to archaeological sites and prohibited research that might establish extended chronologies for Aboriginal presence that could complicate land rights and cultural heritage policies based on shorter habitation timelines. International anthropological organizations discourage research supporting advanced prehistoric Aboriginal development, preferring to maintain narratives about primitive hunter-gatherer cultures that supported established academic theories about technological development and cultural complexity. University archaeology departments systematically avoided research projects that might validate extended Australian human chronologies and advanced Aboriginal cultural development that contradicted established prehistoric timelines and anthropological theories. Modern Australian archaeological research operates under restrictions that prevent investigation of sites that might produce extended dating for Aboriginal civilization and evidence of sophisticated prehistoric cultural and technological development. Conclusion: these 10 expeditions reveal a disturbing pattern in modern science. When legitimate research produces evidence that contradicts established historical narratives, institutional pressure systematically suppresses the findings, regardless of their scientific validity. From human-dinosaur coexistence to advanced Ice Age civilizations, the evidence exists but has been buried under academic politics and ideological commitment to outdated theories. The consistent suppression across multiple disciplines, paleontology, archaeology, climatology, anthropology, suggests coordinated efforts to maintain historical narratives that serve institutional interests rather than scientific truth. Careers have been destroyed, funding has been terminated, and evidence has been classified or destroyed to prevent challenges to established timelines that form the foundation of academic authority. What emerges is a picture of human history far more complex, ancient, and advanced than we've been taught. The evidence points to civilizations that achieved sophisticated development thousands of years before official timelines allow, technologies that existed millions of years before their supposed invention, and human capabilities that exceed current understanding of prehistoric potential and cultural development. These suppressed discoveries prove that science has become as much about protecting established theories as discovering new truths. The institutional resistance to evidence that challenges academic orthodoxy reveals that modern science operates more like religious doctrine than open inquiry, suppressing heretical evidence that threatens established beliefs about human history and capabilities. The systematic suppression of revolutionary discoveries represents more than academic politics. It's the deliberate concealment of evidence that could transform our understanding of human potential and reveal that our ancestors achieved extraordinary developments that challenge every assumption about the linear progression of civilization and technological advancement.